Hello, friends. I just want to show you how the characters are progressing. Uh, we are pretty much finalizing them. So at least the look. So one of the things that we did, we actually upscaled the textures. They were originally painted in 4K, and we using magic scale them to 8K. I will explain a little bit later how it was done. But let's give a look. This is one of the enemies back, and as you can see, it now can go. You can go really close without noticing any resolution problem, which wasn't the case before. Let me show you. Okay, let share editor, and let's load the old text. Okay, so this was the original painted texture. We need to zoom up so you can see how it was before. And you can see that it has some very rough edges, and you notice that the resolution is not the best. In things especially like stitches and the skin here, like you see, if you really close up, the skin will looks not very much detailed. So it will probably would work, but yeah, you notice when if you want to make a big close up of the face, like a Sergio Leone shot, um, it in some cases one more of the others will be noticed. So we did we upscaled the texture. We didn't touch on it. We just upscaled it using the new AI stuff. So shader editor. And we went from, so let's see here, for example, we went from this, it's a 4K texture, to a little bit better. And we now have much better quality in stitches, for example, as you see here too, without any very little additional work. This is probably even better noticed on other characters, like let me show you, for example, uh, this guy here, one of the good guys, our friend Dionisio. And as you can see, let's see his face, for example. Now, very all the stitches are pretty much detailed, as much as they can be. The upscale was actually like a 16K texture because it upscaled it 4 times, but Blender and PC graphic cards and that stuff cannot handle it. So I had to downscale it afterwards to 8K. And but it's enough, very much enough. So even this kind of close up that will never happen probably, but it holds up. So it's pointless to have it with more resolution. But let me show you how it was before. Okay, okay, let's see it. Reference, 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 and yeah. So this was how it was. Not it was not bad, but apart from doesn't look as sharp as it could be, especially when you want to have a close up. So let's see how it is now with the better quality. And as you can see, everything is more clear, crisp, and well defined, even if you see the lips. Let's see it again. This is what we actually painted. My Ruth Perdiz, my wife, she was the one that painted. I didn't do a thing about it. It was all her. So After upscale it, and we have, as you can see, a much better defined close-up texture. Stitches, the same thing. See it? The old one, you can see it's a little bit smooth, not that well defined. For example, on things like this. Now the upscale, and as you can see, it's more clear, well defined, and ready for um, at least 1080p filming without any issue. So how everybody says that AI is terrible and stuff like that, but it's not terrible. It's terrible for some things like painters. It's kind of feels terrible for them because takes it really takes makes stuff look easy, uh, but that's another issue. Um, it's still a tool, but you know it's in a very muddy zone. But for upscaling images, I think it's actually a good tool because nobody kind of works in upscaling images, so it's probably someone does. Not that very many people do. So it's actually excellent to upscale images because how would you do that? Painting in 8K it's not easy because the computer tends to be slow. So if you can paint in 4K and then upscale it to 8K, that's great. That's actually a great tool. That's something that it can be used for sure. Like these buttons here, for example, they were like this, kind of more than enough for a medium shot. But if you, for some reason, get close, you notice that there is a loss of detail. So why not simply use this, and now you have more detail, more quality, holds up a lot better, a lot closer, looks sharper and cleaner, while without not that many additional work. Let me show how I did the upscaling. So I used the software called Shanier. Shanier is open source. It's on GitHub, and we load the image. Let me see if I can find one of the files. So, for example, this one, it's from other frogs shelters. I think it was the last one I did. So you then need to load the training model, um, load model, and we need to select one of the models that exist. I used the ultra sharp 4x ultra mix restore one. Then we choose upscale image. We load the image and the model itself. And sorry, that's wrong. See, I'm not on. I'm not on the same thing. Upscale image. There's several kinds of upscalers, so each one only works with respective one. And finally, we do the save image one, save image node, and select the directory. Let's call it desktop, and give it a name. X. Choose the file format. Kind of works with PNG. That's what we're using. The textures are 8-bit, so this outputs 8-bit textures by color. So that's safe. It's in this case because we also painted in 8K in 8-bit images. So after this, we just run it, and this thing processes. This thing has processed. Now it's doing its thing. It may take a little bit. So see. while it's doing it, let's take a look to the other things we did on the shelters. So we have what we paint or baked from the original model. It's like the color. The color was painted. Then we baked the ambient occlusion from the original model, and the ruggedness also comes from the original model. This thing does use a lot of processing power, as you can see. CPU, RAM, VRAM, because this is upscaling again from a 4K texture to a 16K texture, use texture that unfortunately we cannot use, but we don't lose much. So see, it's more reasonable now. And so we have some special nodes from that point on. So we have call it supports. If you are Portuguese, you'll understand. It makes no sense. So it's kind of private joke. So we from there on we use, as you can see, we only have in images the views, which you can kind of hear. Diffuse painting. This is what the root per dish painted. Then we have ambient occlusion and ruggedness. We only use these ones. Ruggedness is a little bit averaged out. That's so we can later wet them or dry them more easily. Let's see how that one works. And then we have some two node groups that are common for all the shaders. We have support and the tune shader. Tune shader is just so. Let me see if I can show you. Because it's upscaling now, everything is kind of slow. Oh, it's fast again. So the upscaler probably is done. So let's take a look. Yeah, upscaling is complete. Let's forget about it. Okay, so here we have the final image. Let's open it with GIMP because it's too big probably for the Linux image preview. And what we ended up with is a 16K use texture. Like this is at 100%. Very, very, very detailed, as you can see. So very, very sharp and well defined. When considering that we went for a 4K kind of blurry texture, this actually really defines it. But you cannot use a 16K texture for animation. It's redundant, even we wouldn't notice it. So we just then scale the image back again to 8K, and this, and we scale it down again so it can be used in Blender, and it's easy for the graphic cards to handle. And even so, it's like let's see, I think it's around 30 megabytes the image, the resulting image. So as we kind of increase the resolution, we also increase all the time, all the processors, all the memory, all the complex stuff. So let's go back here to the frog and let's see how does the shading of it works. It's now really close to final. So as I was saying, albedo, occlusion, and ruggedness is the only thing that we bake from the original models. It was baked through cycles, so we could then paint on top. After that, we use a group that loads a series of color attributes: subsurface scattering, metalness, specular, and sheen. These come all from just color attributes that you can see. Let's look. So instead of painting, Blender 3D painting tool doesn't output a lot of all the passes, and we want to make something look more cartoony, more hand painted, without going realistic. So this was the approach we followed. So we have speculums. You can show it. Spec, metalness, chin, for the cloth fur, and subsurface scattering for the skin parts. All of these come from the color attributes that we paint directly on the geometry. So from that point on, when everything is activated, and we have our corrected shaded shader. Oh, and the tune shader, that if you skip it completely, this is just a shader to RGB. If we skip it completely, you see that now it looks more like a normal 3D objects, kind of looks the same thing as all the 3D models. But if we pass it through this, and suddenly it kind of looks a little bit more painted and non-realistic, as we wanted it to. Eyes have a little bit of subsurface scattering. It's just simple shaders, simple principles shaders with subsurface scattering. Also, as you may see, the characters have line art. They have all of them have a line art that that is made in the oldest way possible. That still looks good. It was used on Jet Set Radio and many old games that nobody remembers already. So it's just a solidified and with the normals inverted, using a second material for specifically for it. And it's a very cheap way and very efficient way to make a line art. I've tried all the other options like grease pencil and the previously the freestyle renderer that I used previously, and none of them kind of really works as fast and as good as just a simple solidify with inverted node. So that's it pretty much. As you can see, this is now saved, and this is our 8K texture. Yeah, that occupies almost 27 megabytes. Which, when we have 12 characters at the same time, that alone makes like 500 megabytes of RAM, of video card RAM that goes away. And we have scenery yet, and smoke and fog and all that. So our cards only have 12 gigabytes. They are 360 ones, RTX 360 with 12 gigabytes. So that's how much we can use. Although Eevee does use the rest of the computer memory, not very efficiently. But yeah, so we made the effort to include a lot of details. So on these characters, so they become very interesting. Um, Let me show you another one. I already made I have about 3 to make. Let me show you another one. Fat Joe. He, it's loading. Okay, let's go. Fat Joe. It's also just recently completed. Also, if you noted, I want to ensure that all the characters are structured exactly the same way. Um, so it's easier to for the other characters, for the other persons that may work with this, like any other animator or rigger, to if can make one can make all the others. So I always try to keep everything as well structured as possible, so everyone can work efficiently and not. I find terrible when we have a mess to work with and we want to find something and you cannot. So that's not something that I try never to do that. I try to keep everything organized. I used to work for a company. My first company that I worked for, they did really demanded it. So I kind of get used to it. And yeah, these guys have, as you can see, all the bad guys have black eyes, black eyeballs, and another example of scaling. This also scale, this is complete. See, very high quality textures without the pain of actually painting them by hand. So, but where I was going that all the bad guys have black eyes, so they are easy to identify, and of course colors because poisonous frogs they come with colors, and while the heroes they are all the common frogs like Luzu, and the common frogs, the non-poisonous ones, they are all like this. At least here where I live, where in the lagoons I come from, all the frogs that we can you should not, but can touch are this color. No, the other ones with colors, we really don't want to touch them. So that kind of made it sense for me, and and uh, and we went by that. So bad guys have colors, black guys, and good guys are like a normal frog. At least a normal frog in Portugal. And obviously we have only the hero, only Luzu as the parts like the jacket removable. So and add too, because we may want to animate them separately, and at some point Luzu may want to take the may want to do something with it. So the only one that we go through that effort because it's really difficult to rig and animate separated cloth pieces. Tried in Orienteer, and I even in that one I had to eventually remove the jacket because it was giving too much trouble. But yeah, this one we Root Perdiz really made an effort to have it with as much detail as possible. So that it really shows the quality we want to achieve. And some people say, "Oh, but it looks like a video game." At least the money people stuff like that. But they look like a video game. Pixar, they are all round and very cute and round and high quality. Well, we are also making them high quality, but we like more the video game feeling of them. I was born in the I was a teenager when Virtua Fighter was the massive hit, and that was all polygons, and I kind of like that style in which we see the polygons, because I don't want to make a thing that looks like a sculpture. I want to people see the polygons that this is a polygon stuff made. It's not like a clay or any other thing. It's polygons. That's a look that I want to use, that I want to make, like any other look, like Studios Ghibli have their look. I also want to show that we we want to have quality, very good characters, very well modeled and detailed, with lots of details, but still looking like a video game characters. 90s video game, not like 90s. This is a good quality for a modern game, but this is something that I don't want to lose. I want to keep the characters still looking like they are made of polygons and not really just smooth out and similar to DreamWorks and Pixar. So we want to have our look, and this is our approach to it. And it also allows us to not use a billion computers. A simple computer can do it. This runs at 24 frames per second, as you can see it. It has not bones yet. That's another history, another story. But yeah, you can run it in real time, real easy, and especially have it looking exactly how it looks in the end. So a great preview. And well, I think I've taken you too much time already. So hope you enjoyed it. We work on this every time we can. Ruth produced more than me. I just really, I just really uh, pick up time from time to time to do some of improvements, work on the shaders. I'm mostly the one that defining the shaders and all that complicated stuff. Complicated for some. I bet there are shading guys that are very good at this. I'm not just trying to make something that. Well, anyway, uh, hope to see you next time in some way. So